All right, this is your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour brought to you by Yorgey-Hearns. We are back live on Ustream.tv as always. Chris Guzman, Emil Sonopapinski, Kegabine, Timmy the producer Patterson, and of course on my left, Nestor Garza Romero. Friday night in LA heavyweight action. This was on Friday Night Fights. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I didn't think this was a boring, lame fight. The way I'm reading, Dan Raphael said, and I read on two other websites that this was a boring, dumb fight.
The problem is Peter doesn't really, or Chambers doesn't really have the knockout power at heavyweight that you would want out of a heavyweight. He does
that a lot of people want out of a heavyweight. I don't have to have knockouts.
I just need excitement.
I was a huge fan of Chris Bird. Who did Chris Bird ever knock out at heavy? I'll give you a second.
Part of the problem.
Not many.
Another part of the problem with Eddie Chambers is he's a pretty good defensive fighter, and that doesn't always work out for exciting fights. I mean, it actually works out better with the fighters not as good as some of the top guys because they get hit a little bit more and it's more fan friendly. But Eddie Chambers proved here he took on a former champion, Sam Peter. Actually, I was kind of surprised how they announced it because it was Sam Peter versus Eddie. Oh, it was Eddie Chambers versus Sam Peter. Chambers was the first guy announced, so that usually means he's the favorite in the fight. So you would think.
I'm not sure I agree with that. The second guy to come out is usually the champion.
And Chambers was the second guy coming out on this night. It was kind of interesting to see that. I thought Peter was going to be the overwhelming favorite in this one. And Chambers kind of surprised me here, actually.
They announced, when they did the ring announcing, they announced Chambers second.
Yes.
I didn't catch that.
That's why when they did it, I mean, I was in the kitchen making my grilled cheese and.
The gourmet that he is.
I am glad we got that bit of info on
the air.
And I go,
holy cow! Holy cow!
Holy cow!
I got a gum glass right here. I
thought that was a cow milk cheese, grilled cheese.
All right. That works out too, but Chambers. I was surprised that they announced Chambers second, and I was surprised how good he did in this fight. I thought Peter would end up pulling this off against him, and Chambers proved that he doesn't need to work his way down to a cruiserweight. He can stand his ground at heavyweight.
See, I thought Eddie Chambers did have a chance at this. I didn't know how the fight was going to play out, but I was not in any way surprised that Chambers did it, especially after watching the first 2-3 rounds.
Well,
you could see that Peter really wasn't going to be able to land on.
Well, fresh in your mind is the Povetkin loss in Chambers.
Very much so. Very much so. But Povetkin has boxing ability that Peter doesn't. One thing I'm reminded though of Sam Peter is his hand speed, which is not really noticed when he's in there with guys like James Toney, and he's in there with the Klitschko's, who for their size really have fast hands. You don't notice that Sam Peter's got this he's got sneaky speed in there, and his arms aren't very long. He can take punches all night. You're really not going to hurt him all that much. Although Chambers did get Peter's eye to start swelling. So,
yes, that's what happens when you keep hitting it.
That was that overhand right.
Yeah,
and he was landing it all night.
Same with T-Rex Peter.
He couldn't.
Plus, he has a quick jab, so that works out well for him as well. All together, with heavyweight, that's what you need is that overhand right and a good solid jab to have a chance at the title. I mean, Eddie Chambers lost to Povetkin in that little mini tournament. He's trying to work his way up. And his guys even say it's obvious he's not going to get a title shot this year, but he does want to work his way through some of the top guys to get a chance at the beginning of next year.
They asked him, critique your work here. He says, "Oh man, I thought way too much in that fight." He says, "I mean, look at the guy. The guy can knock a wall down. Obviously, I don't want to get hit with any of that. So I had to think that whole time to make sure I didn't get caught with anything." He goes, "But even then, I think I thought too much."
Even when he did get caught, he'd be like, it was like he was sparring with Peter. He would smile at him and go, "Yeah, you got me."
He would smile at him. If I'm Sam Peter and I'm landing, I mean, he wasn't landing like flush, crazy hard shots, but he was getting his
every once in a while. He did get a good shot in there, though.
He got a decent shot. I mean, it wasn't his loaded up crazy. I'm gonna kill you with this shot. But even when he was landing, relatively decent hard shots, Chambers was there.
The thing with Chambers learned to switch from conventional to southpaw very smoothly. I mean, some guys when they
You
change,
you
even
hardly
Andre
even
Ward.
noticed it.
I was relying.
You'll hardly even notice.
I was
the
relying
switch.
on the commentators to actually remind me. Oh, now he's a southpaw.
I mean, when Andre Ward does it, I'm
What?
bringing up another guy that does this. You actually notice when Andre Ward does it.
Well, because you can see his feet are changing. Right?
Yeah.
His feet are changing immediately when he does it. You don't notice it because of his upper body. You notice it because of his feet.
And usually
His
when
stance is
Chambers
different.
does it, he's just stepping forward and doesn't bring the other foot forward.
He's pretty much forward only anyway. So when he does it, he's all about his upper body. So I mean, for him to just switch this to this, it didn't change very much.
It was really seamless.
It was effortless. It didn't look like he was even trying. He was frustrating Sam Peter like I've never seen. And I'll tell you what, right now, if I was wearing a hat, it would be off to Eddie Chambers because he proved, for all the BS talk about American heavyweights, we've got nothing going for us. I mean, they can't do anything. They're giving their titles and everything. Eddie Chambers said, you know what, forget you. I'm going in there with one of the hardest, probably the hardest puncher in the heavyweight ranks right now. I mean, Sam Peter's got short arms, but if he lands, he's going to kill you.
Yeah. He does hit hard
He
for a
stood
heavyweight.
there and said, I am going to beat Sam Peter, and damn it, he did it. Gotta love you, Eddie Chambers. You represent all
His corner actually said that if they would have fought Povetkin a week after when they did. They've actually worked with Chambers quite a bit and taught him some new things. And obviously, you've seen how seamless he switched from conventional to southpaw. That might have been part of the thing that they were thinking about. So I don't know.
We didn't talk about Yorgey-Hearns yet either.
No, and
I
that was
didn't mean
probably the most exciting fight of the weekend.
I didn't mean to skip that. That was an outstanding fighter. That was an outstanding fight, rather. Harry Joe Yorgey at junior middleweight, knockout in the 9th round over Ronald Hearns. Yorgey, undefeated, 22-0-1 with 10 knockouts. Who'd have thought by looking at him that he's undefeated, though? He looks like a guy that's been around the block a good while.
And he comes in this one, he goes,
31.
he actually comes in this one going, I don't think Hearns has quicker hands than me. I think I'm actually quicker than what he is.
And damn it, he went and showed it. It was beautiful. Tommy Hearns went in to help his son out and make some jokes and wave and sign some autographs. But he knows what he was looking at. He saw a fighter dismantle his son.
The thing is nobody knows who Harry Joe Yorgey is until this point, and now they know.
Not many.
Yeah, not many. I obviously.
And they only know who Ronald Hearns is because of who his father is.
And and Ronald Hearns obviously, honestly, a lot of people say he has been protected up to this point, and I mean he has his father's chin as well as his build. I mean his father did get caught quite a bit and go down.
Yeah.
And I mean, you see that in that short pointy chin that they have. I mean it's I mean we've seen it with
Not much of a neck either on these Hearnses.
It's happened to other fighters as well, and you see that a lot of times that type of facial structure. A lot of times they don't have the chin that they need.
Well, what I have to say about this, bottom line. Let's take a break.
Bottom line.
Let's take a break, and we'll be right back at you. This is Bolo Punch. We'll be right back.